Welcome to everyone. Today we're going to discuss how you can work with Govcon Giants in 2025, and we will be creating more opportunities for people out here. For those of you who are watching on YouTube, we are streaming inside of our Federal Help Center. So I'm going to drop that link in here for you guys to attend if you want to ask questions. Otherwise, you can just sit back and listen. No worries, but we're going to talk about our opportunities, grants, contracts, how we can utilize your skill sets, what you guys have in order to help facilitate more contract interactions. So, yep. No, I know. I went on mute on purpose. So, again, I was letting people get in here. Hey, Sylvia. Hey, Colin. How's it going, guys? Thank you so much. So, again, what I'm doing is I want to encourage the YouTube people to get over here in the Federal Help Center. So, I just went on there and did a little small introduction. But, hey, thanks so much for joining us. And thank you guys over in Federal Help Center. And I want to talk to you about some of the new changes that we're making. And let me start sharing my screen for everyone. Give me 1 second. By the way, while we're in the chat, hopefully everyone knows each other. If you don't know somebody in the chat, let them know. Just, kind of say, hey, introduce yourself really quick. I always like to do that before. Start off by telling people who you are and what you do. So if you haven't already done that, why don't you go ahead and do that now over in the chat. Give me 1 second. All right, good. Okay. Now I'm sharing my Streamlabs. Good. So just for those of you who are inside of Federal Help Center, what I did was, like I said, I'm sharing the content on YouTube so that people on YouTube can see what's happening live. And those of you who are watching on YouTube, you can click the links and jump in the Federal Help Center for free, and you will be able to see and talk to us and have access to that information. And I'm going to put this on the screen really quickly for you right now. Good stuff. All right. Colin's laughing. Hey, man, that's what you do when you do impromptu stuff. You figure it out. IT desk. Nice. All right, so as you all know, we just came off of our summit. And so at the actual summit, what happened was we got a lot of people coming to us. So for those of you who missed our summit, summit was amazing. By the way, Colin was there, Lennox, I know you guys were there. At the actual summit, we had about 450 people there. And then the day before the summit, we had a roundtable event with another 40 people. So we had about 500 people in total over the 2 days. And what we've been doing since October, which I want to announce, is that we have been slowly transitioning to helping the federal government, helping federal agencies solve their problems. So what does that mean? So traditionally, you guys have known here at Govcon Giants, we help small businesses win contracts. What I said I want to do was figure out, how do we do that? How do we help you guys even more, right? But not just in helping you by training you and teaching you, but giving you actual access to contract opportunities. And so what we did was, right the day before the summit, we held this roundtable event right here. I'm just showing you our agenda. And so we held this event, this roundtable event, and at that event, it was a invite only. So it was 40 people, max capacity. And we asked the government to come in and talk to us about their problem areas. And what does that do? So when we asked them to come in, and I'll make it bigger so you can see it, we were able to get the director of the Army Cyber Technology Innovation Center, Army Cyber. We were able to get U.S. Central Command. We were able to get to Department of Defense Chief Digital Artificial Intelligence Office. And they came to us and said, hey, these are the problems that we have, and here are we have budgets for these items, and if you have people in your communities that can solve for this, then we want to hear from you. And so we did that. And that turned out to be an amazing experience, because what we did was, with the way that you guys are putting all of your information in chat right now here in Federal Help Center, we were able to invite selective group of people who had solutions to come in and talk to the federal agency who had the problems and who had the money. So what we like to do is be able to do that in a more expansive way. And we also want to do that in a way where we have everyone's information in a database. We know what everyone does. We know your expertise. So then as we start talking to more and more federal agencies and government officials, we can now say, okay, there's an issue with some, like, okay, caller input marketing, web development training. There may be some problems with training pilots on warfighter, and so we need people who have that expertise or that professional level of service that they can deliver. So what we've done is we're now creating a back channel directly to the government for our community, and we are building on that back channel. I'll explain to you some of the policies behind it and how that works, but just essentially know this is that in addition to training you guys how to service the government, we're now working with the government to find out some of the problems that they have so that we could come to you, to our community, and then essentially go find which one of you in our community has a solution for that, or maybe you know someone has a solution for that, and then we take that back to the government. I'll give you an example. Recently, something that Zach posted in the group. So this is something that Zach posted. I'll just show you just for example, right? So this is one example of something that Zach posted. So here, the government was looking for someone that knows geothermal for electricity and green hydrogen production. Seems complicated, but believe it or not, there's people in our community that know how to do this kind of stuff. And so what they want to do is, this is where they're looking for novel approaches to generate electricity added to installations using geothermal energy. Do not get caught up in the specifics of it. The point is, we turn to our community and say, hey, who has the solutions for this? You guys go out and you find people. I mean, all of you are smart. All of you got access. All of you work in companies or organizations where you have people around you that know these things. Now, you being connected with me, you would say, okay, look, Eric, I got a person that does this. I have a person that knows this, and he can help work on the solution. And then we take that back to the government. We find someone that can actually solve it. And then what they'll do is, eventually, the goal is to have them make Govcon Giants the manager of the funds so that we can start essentially qualifying people, getting good people into the government side. So I know I said a mouthful, and I want to explain to you what does that look like. But if you have any questions, drop it in the chat. I'm definitely open to hearing any of the questions that you guys may have. All right. You like it? Hold on one second. I'm gonna breathe for a minute. By the way, I'm a talker. If you guys haven't already, if you already noticed it. All right. How's everyone's Saturday? Good. Yes, no. Cold in the DMV. Working at the hospital. All right. So let me show you what this looks like. You know I'm a teacher, all this stuff. I'm a teacher at heart. I can't help but teach. All right. So what we're looking at is the contracting cone. Let's see if I can pull it up, make it bigger. Everyone should know this contracting cone. Everyone should know this. All right, let me see, is it big enough? Okay, cool. All right. All right, so what I'm showing you guys here is called the contracting cone. What that means is that this is how the government buys stuff. So this is how they buy stuff. The areas in blue are the areas that I've been teaching for the last 7 years. In fact, those are the areas that I've been operating at since 2007, 2008. So the whole areas in blue, which by the way, Colin, would you help me out? So somebody who's on here could be my moderator. So I don't know, Colin, you might have your kid. So if someone could just type in the chat contracting cone for those of people who, just so they can remember what this is called. You can go back and look it up later. Thank you, Colin. So this is where, again, as it applies to federal, this is how they buy stuff. All right. This is, you guys can get an education. This is how they buy stuff. And if you look here, FAR base is in blue, non-FAR is in green. Everyone knows what the FAR is, I'm hoping. FAR, right? Federal Acquisition Regulations. So that's where it's regulated and they have a specific process for how to do things, and this is why we're able to teach it. So this is what we've been doing successfully, and this is what we continue to do. And if you are one of the lucky ones that are going to be in our boot camp starting next month, then we'll teach you about how to use these different tools, right? So for example, you've probably heard of some of this stuff. Most of us have heard about simplified acquisition, right? FAR 13, blanket purchase agreements, purchase orders, micro purchases. A lot of us have heard about IDIQs, single award IDIQs, multiple award IDIQs. Most of us have heard about SBIRs, STTRs, right? A lot of us have heard about FAR Part 19, set-asides, 8A contracts. Now, there's some areas in here where a lot of us have not heard about, such as letter contract, FAR 16. I teach about negotiated contracts, FAR 15, right? But the area that Govcon Giants, the organization, is moving to is the area in green. So the area in green is where Govcon Giants is moving to, and this is the non-FAR area. Why is this important? Why do you need to know this? Why am I telling this today? Because you can help us and you can help yourself. These opportunities are the opportunities where we, as an organization, as a community, can come together to get our own set aside and sole source projects, except they don't use the same terminology, but essentially it has the same meaning. There are groups like ours who are coming together collectively, and in some industries you guys have heard of them before, where they come together and they essentially come to the point of where we're bringing solutions from what they call non-traditional contractors. That's the new word. Somebody write in their thing, non-traditional contractors. So they're bringing together non-traditional contractors that have not been part of the current industrial base, and they're using them to come in and problem set for things like maybe Boeing has invented some sort of patent on this product, and now they've driven the price really up. And so now they want one of us to come in and reverse engineer that product to make it more cost affordable because the government doesn't have an infinite budget, and now they want us to come in and solve for that. A lot of stuff has to do with AI. A lot of stuff has to do with cyber. A lot of things have to do with areas where we're having attacks, areas where we're having like old computers, outdated training. Think about all the areas in the government where, if many of you guys were veterans or military, think about some of the areas of lack that you saw happening, and those are the things that we're going after to solve for. Now, what makes this special, what makes this unique is, again, it's in the green, so it's under non-FAR, which means it's not regulated. Now, that also makes it difficult and hard from a standpoint of there's no rules, right? So it's kind of like the Wild Wild West. However, there are some processes by which companies do this kind of stuff. You don't have to worry about any of that. I'm just sharing with you what we're doing so that you know, so that when we start talking about, when you see and you're wondering why are we doing some of the activities that we're doing, you'll know how it all ties in together, and that we're not just going some wacky path of chase some random things. We actually have intention and a strategy behind it, and that it's going to yield fruit in the long term for all of us, not in the conventional ways, but in the non-conventional ways, such as, again, remember I say that you don't have to be certified to get contracts. That's why I show you these things like this cone, because on here when you look at the cone itself, right, there's on here, there's only one or two of those lines that have to do with certifications. The rest of the stuff is wide open. In fact, if anybody's in the healthcare space, in any kind of way, Health and Human Services, HHS, is going to be having an innovation event starting February, March timeframe. And we're going to be working with them on that event. But they're going to be giving out what they call letter contracts. So if you look at on that screen right in the middle here, let me see if I can highlight it. This letter contract right there on the far base, that is essentially, you could use that as past performance. They're going to probably be somewhere like $200,000, and they're going to be funding you just to say that you have a potential solution for this problem. So that's the area that we're working in, and that's where we believe that collectively, with all of our different various skill sets, we'll be able to help each other and help the organization as a whole, right? Again, I'm going to stop, leave room for questions. All right, someone says, how will it be organized? So let me explain to you the process, Yvette. But again, I know there's a lot of process people out here. I will explain the process, but again, this is not for you to worry about. Really, what most of you on here care about is how can you be a part of it, is what I think. That's what if I were you and I was sitting on the other side of this, my question would be, Eric, how do I get in? How do you financially benefit? That would be my question if I was sitting out there in your seat, listening to me talk. But I get it, Yvette and some of my other people are very process oriented, so they want to get into that. I have no problem sharing that with them. But, again, I'm going to answer the questions that people ask me out of respect because I did give everyone an opportunity. So the process is, Yvette, essentially, what we do is we are, here, I'll go back. I'll go over here and let me go into this area and I'll explain it. So let me make sure I'm sharing my screen first. All right, perfect. All right, so the way that this works, Yvette, is there's two ways in which Govcon Giants can formally do this with the government. One of them is called a PIA, Partnership Intermediary Agreement. Again, on that cone that I shared with you guys, it's in green. And so that's a formal agreement between the federal government and a partner, which is typically a nonprofit organization like Govcon Giants. And so what we're doing now, Yvette, is we are speaking with entities within the federal agencies who can give us this type of structure that would allow us, right, to assist small businesses and institutions in leveraging laboratory resources with the goal of promoting technology transfer, commercialization, and innovation. So that's one way, Yvette. So again, on the back end, what we are doing, myself, Randy, Zach, our team, is we are speaking with the federal agencies right now, and we are talking with people who are put these types of agreements in place to get a formal agreement between Govcon Giants and one of these federal agencies or entities. All right. So that's the first thing that we're doing. And then on the consortium side here, what we're doing is essentially at our summit, we already start doing some of this. The reason why we held this roundtable event was because if you look at the process here for setting up this OTA between us as a consortium manager. Oh, by the way, one thing I forgot real quick. If anybody goes and visits our website, you can read all of this. So if you go to govcongiants.org website, all of this information is now in there. We actually changed this the day after the conference ended. So if you go to Govcon Giants website, all of the letters in there. All right. Yes, Susan, by the way, you're already on my list to be considered. Esteve, yes, my brother, definitely. I forgot, Esteve. Esteve, you got to keep reminding me, man. You have solutions. Esteve, I forgot. All right, thank you. Yes. So again, Susan, yes, you're in a mix for the HHS event. I got you covered on that. But if anybody wants to go to govcongiantsalready.org, we talk about all these things already on the website. We talk about what is an OTA. We describe what's a consortium. All that's already on our website. So we explain this whole thing here, how the model works. So again, Govcon Giants would essentially be the consortium manager. We're right now we're identifying potential government sponsors, contracting offices, and then you guys, all of you, are the consortium, right? So all of you inside of here are the consortium, and essentially this whole thing again. When I finish this, it's all on the website. You go back and look, and we explain what it is, what are some of the consortium's resources, and how it works. All right. So I just want to say that real quick, that it is on our website. But going back, Yvette, to the process, and I'll go in the process and then we'll get into some details. First thing is, right, and if anybody wants it, I'll share this document. I don't really care. None of this is private information, because really, in order to do this, there's a lot of things that you have to have in place. But Yvette, so the first thing in the process was establishing communication between government sponsors, the consortium management firm, Govcon Giants, and then members to discuss upcoming project needs. So if you look at our roundtable event before our summit, that was the intention and purpose behind it. Was we brought the agencies with consortium members and the management firm, us, together to hold a collaboration event where they were able to present to us draft problem statements. We then facilitated one-on-one discussions between the representatives and members to gain insights to their problem sets. And so now what we're doing is we're working on developing the project request and then their criteria for draft evaluation and then review and approval. So those are the things that we're working on literally right now. So I want you to see that, because this is the process that someone asked a question about the process. This is the process in which we're doing it. But we already have, believe it or not, some of the people, and Estev, I wish you could have been at this year's event. We had an amazing time. So some of the people already from some of the federal agencies that came to our event, we actually had a couple combatant commands. They said that they had wished they brought their technical people because they didn't realize we were going to have so many subject matter experts in the room. So they were already super impressed with us and us being able to deliver, again, non-traditional contractors, right? Which is what all of you are out here, because you are not in that pool that's getting like those pots of money. So we're going to be doing more of that. We already have a couple people that we've engaged with. When I say people, meaning agency sponsors. We're meeting with more every week, and we're doing all the BD side on setting this structure up. So then we will then be the managing organization, and then we will be reaching out all of you to come in and help us problem solve. So if you're inside a Federal Help Center and you see us dropping in there things that we're working on, it's in alignment with that. In fact, Susan, we got to talk specifically, Susan and Estev, the two of you, we need to talk about this, because you can definitely help with the, I think since we talked about with the HHS innovation event and helping them solve for some of their issues right now that some of the existing, as you can imagine, organizations are not doing a great job. So that is the overview of the process, right? So I did want to get that out of the way. That's the overview of the process, and someone asked. And again, I have this whole thing, Yvette, written down, mapped out, if you guys want to see. What does it look like in terms of the criteria? I'll explain one more thing on that note. So here, part of the criteria for doing this is essentially you've got to have an online platform where you can facilitate communication between government and consortium members, be able to store the agreements, collect fees, send and transfer data. I have someone right now that is building out a platform for us to be able to receive white papers, review the white papers, and then at the same time be able to score them, rank them, and then also be able to present the government with those options. The reason why this is a big deal is because the government has so much money and funds, particularly if you look at groups like the Department of Energy. They don't have enough people to manage the programs, to manage the awards, to essentially help bring innovation to them. When you look at groups like the labs, their functions are so vitally critical to all of us in the government. I mean, all of us in the United States. However, when you look at the offices and the size of the offices and the team, they just don't have enough people to manage getting all this stuff accomplished. And so this is one way that the government does it. And we want to play a big part. And we want to leverage the fact that we do have these huge networks and we do have all these people that have these extraordinary skill sets. Like, I mean, on the call here with 38 of you guys, and then on the other side, when we've got amazing people on that side as well on YouTube, this is where we believe that, again, we can take all of that power and bring it to them and show them and demonstrate that we have the talent, we have the abilities, we're capable, we're competent, and we can deliver and execute. And so that's the biggest benefit that I'm going to be selling to them when I talk to these people and I get them on a call. And we've already done some of that right away. So I did want to say that. Going back to, I'm going to finish out this process question and then we'll get into some more stuff real quick. So on the process, basically, we've got to have some agreements in place between management fees, working with government to develop project requests and evaluation criteria, facilitating communication between members and government customers, managing proposal evaluations, and handling post-award administrative activities. We do a lot of that already. The biggest thing that people do not know that we have the capabilities of is a lot of this stuff falls under R&D dollars. So when you look at this, on the green, you'll see it's R&D agreement and research and prototype. What people have not seen from me is, do I have the tech, how do you say, I'm getting my tongue twisted. They don't see that we have like the prerequisite engineers and the technology people that can score and rank high, how do you say it? Very sophisticated types of proposals, very sophisticated type of solutions. But again, that's because we've never promoted that or pushed that, and for that reason, they've never seen that side of us. However, once we show and deliver that we've got university partnerships, we've got partnerships with people that are already laboratories, then we'll be able to prove that we can match that final criteria. So I hope that answers your process question. I did want to get that out the way so I could get to some more questions out there. But more importantly, the biggest thing is that we are going to be doing events, workshops, sessions, teachings. Everything that now we're going to be doing is so that we can put Govcon Giants in a positive light to work with the federal agencies so that we can get a sponsor so that we can manage these OTAs, or OTs is what they call them, other types of transactions, so that we can now help start solving these issues. And instead of us saying, well, I'm a janitorial company, I'm a this company, I'm a that company, they're saying, hey, I got a budget for these 22 areas, and if you got anybody in your portfolio, anybody in your network that has solutions, bring them to me. And we'll be doing that on a regular basis. So we see that as a amazing opportunity for all of you out here to be able to participate and play. And what we need from folks, essentially, is we just need to be able to organize everyone's information and their talents and their skills or their certifications, their requirements, all the things that they have the ability to do. And then we need to have that organized so that we can easily search it and be able to essentially, at a drop of a hat, say we've got somebody that does that. Does that make sense? So, again, I'm going to stop. I'm going to breathe. Plus, somebody's doing some work over here on the other side. So, I want to get to that. Hold on. Let me get back over to StreamYard. Yes. Okay, no problem. In fact, Estelle, no, it's good. Yeah, actually, one of the persons that we're working with, they helped develop smart cities back in the days at IBM. In fact, Estelle, a lot of people that we're working with are former IBMers now, that are now working with the NSBE, National Society of Professional Engineers, and also IEEE. And so I don't want to change it to a really high level conversation because I'm talking to Estelle, but just so he knows on there. All right. Cool. Good stuff. All right, let me go back over here. Let me see, what questions do we have? So specifically to as it pertains to this, I can jump back on and do another live on something else, but let's see. Searching for solicitations. Okay, so someone says, "Are you setting us up to work with larger partners or us as a primary?" Yes. So in this particular case, with this programs that we're looking at, their government is not necessarily looking for large partners. They're looking for people who have the capabilities. So this will open up the doors for a lot of people who are newer to the government marketplace to be able to go in and get some opportunities. And that's why when I mentioned earlier about the letter contracts, I'll pull it back up. When I talked about those letter contracts, those contracts, what we're discussing now here. So when you look at the letter contracts in the middle under FAR base, right above IDIQ, those contracts we're talking about are like $200,000. But again, it's specifically for just showing that you have the ability to potentially solve this problem, right? A lot of the stuff that Department of Energy does with NREL in the form of programs, they do competitions and prizes. Those are in the less than $1 million range at the first phase, and then above $1 million in the phase 2s and 3s. But the whole point of it is so that people can start getting some past experience in working with these groups, and then also proving that you have the actual solution. Because in this situation, we don't know who has the solution. People say they do, but we want to prove it, and a lot of times we're just asking for white papers. So you don't have to necessarily have audited financial statements and a big back office to do this stuff. That's why they put together these consortiums and like people like us to be a manager, because we will be helping you guys do that piece of the work. So we just need you to be able to have the solutions and be able to execute and deliver. We'll be managing a lot of the paperwork side and getting that back and forth so we can keep it compliant. But remember, since we're dealing with a lot of non-FAR stuff, the compliance means complying to the criteria that we set out in our agreement between us and the agency sponsor, if that makes sense. All right. By the way, this is the first time I'm presenting this to you. So if it seems over your head, I understand. Again, like I said, I've been working on this since October. I actually did a YouTube video on OTAs back 5 years ago with Piers when he first introduced the concept, but we were not actually getting involved with them. But now that we're actually doing more of this kind of stuff and working with partners in this area, I just want the world, in terms of our world, to know so that you have an idea when you see me doing things like, why is Eric doing that? Because it's leading to us getting an actual agreement with a federal sponsor so that we can manage a pool of money to problem solve for some very specific issues. But again, people like Linux has logistical support criteria. That was a big deal with Transcom. They were looking for some logistical support. IT help desk. All those things are super important. All right, let me go in and take some questions. Colin says, please ask questions. How would you find a teaming partner on this outside of our community? So finding teaming partners, I mean, you can find them in various ways. I would essentially go to, the biggest way to find them is meet them somewhere at an event of some sort, a networking event. That's the easiest way to find a teaming partner. And so if we are, like I brought up that geothermal opportunity, in our other chat, someone's mentioned they went to a smart cities and a metaverse event. Those are places and things that you can go to find potential partners, because everyone's not going to be in these rooms. Everyone's not going to be on these calls. And so you can definitely find partners by attending events where these people are at. A lot of times with government contracting, particularly, I can tell you, like, for example, Mike Contavi, the Contavis where they teach about working with DLA, they're doing an arbitrage play, because when there's so much opportunities, no single person can see all of it or respond to all of it. So for someone like you who has more time than money, you can be monitoring some of this stuff and then taking it back to those partners and bringing it to the table. Let's see. Yes, this is being recorded. You'll be able to watch it later. I think I just addressed how could a newbie get in, right? Sean Lee, on the boot camp, We have a video where I talked about the boot camp and what goes over it. I'll be happy to message you that video on YouTube that goes over exactly the boot camp and what you're gonna learn from. I just did a video on that last week. So yes, Linux, Govcon Giants will be the prime, and the community members will be the sub and heirs. But it's not a prime sub relationship that you typically think of, in the sense where because you are going to be working, your contract will be, but with the actual agency, we're just the manager of making sure that the agreements are being honored. We're essentially like the program manager, so we're making sure that the program gets fulfilled. We're making sure that you are compliant with what you're supposed to be doing. You're meeting your deliverables, and that we're making sure that the customer is getting what they're looking for, right? So your agreements will be with them. We'll just be managing everything in between. So we'll be just collecting all the documents, reviewing the documents, and essentially saying, hey, Linux, this doesn't meet up to the scope of services, so therefore we can only pay you 80% on what you build, right? So we'll be doing all of that piece for the government. Sean Lee says, is there ongoing support? Yes, there's ongoing support, because that's our role as the managers, to actually support you, because that's where the government's falling short in being able to implement these things. They don't have enough manpower to teach you how to come to them, work with them, be compliant, and then support you at the same time. So that's what we do here at Govcon Giants. As the managers, we'll be providing all the support. You'll be just providing all the technical aspects of it. Sylvia, I just answered what are the benefits. Yeah, Sean. So Sean's question is, are there structured implementation strategies available upon completion? Yes. So again, when we lay this out, right, we do a criteria, and then based on that criteria, that will essentially tell you what you need to implement and how you implement it in order to meet the requirements that were set forth. Bonita, no, these are not simplified acquisitions. These are simplified acquisitions falls under the other section here. So simplified acquisitions falls under FAR 13. We're operating in the green section, which is non-FAR stuff. And so, yeah, no, it's different. It's definitely different, and it's new. So I don't expect anyone to get it right away. But more importantly, Bonita, and to the community, I don't need you to know how to do this. I need you to bring me your solutions. Do not get caught in the weed of how to do this. We are going to do this, because this is my part. I need you to bring us your solutions. So when I put in something in the chat that we're looking for this solution, I need everyone to be like essentially help us identify and find the people, the persons, the companies that can do this, so that we can now go to government and say, hey, our community keeps bringing you solutions. Maybe you should be giving our community, our consortium, our firm, the opportunity to manage large pots of money. Where, by the way, we're going to have to probably prove ourselves first, bringing some smaller solutions. But once we do that, what they're going to do is, these pots of money are $50 million, $100 million, $200 million pots of money. So they can trust her with bigger and bigger pots of money to manage once we show that we can deliver solutions. So again, Bonita's question, what type of past performance or experience required? There's no past performance required. Your experience is in, can you solve this issue? Do you have a solution? Where's it at? What phase is it in? And how can you articulate that you have a solution? A lot of this stuff, Bonita, and for everybody listening, is white papers. You're just writing a white paper saying, yes, we do this, we fixed this before. And by the way, technical solutions doesn't mean always IT. A lot of the problems have to do with being able to they're still using, I know people that are still taking stuff from papers and fax machines and putting into software systems and databases and things like that. So someone says, what is the impact of the shift from traditional methods of government contract to this? So there's no when you say the shift, the government's already doing this. This has been happening. These things were put into place before we were born. They have taken off since COVID. And so during COVID time frame, this is how the government was able to do a lot of the expedited buying for innovative solutions for treatments and medicines and things like that. So there is essentially no impact from the shift to us because, I mean, they're doing all of these things, right? I'm showing you the whole cone. They do all this stuff. What the difference is, here, us, Govcon Giants, the organization, we are now going to step in and say, we want to play in this field on the green, and we want a piece of that pie, and we want to bring it back to our members because we believe that our members who have these solutions, the people who are getting the consortiums and the consortium managers are not adequately doing their job and seeking us out. So the government still, even though they had an innovative way to buy, they're not getting the best and the brightest because the people who are managing the opportunities are not necessarily looking for people like us. So what I'm going to say is that because I've demonstrated this for the last 7 years, have built up communities of non-traditional contractors, I'm going to bring them to you, and we're going to solve these issues, and you're going to get new blood, you're going to get fresh faces, you're going to get people with fresh ideas, and that's a lot of the problems that you see. Essentially, people complaining about right now with the government is they're slow, we're losing to all of our foreign adversaries because the same people keep getting the same opportunities. So all I'm doing now is inserting myself into the mix. I'm putting my neck on the line and saying, hey, Eric Coffie, give me the shot. I will deliver you people, bodies, solutions. That's what I'm doing. I'm standing up for us and saying, let me put it. I'm put it on my shoulders. You can't find somebody who can fix this. Give it to me. I got people. So that's the difference. That's the difference. Hey, yes, Estelle, we've been waiting for a long time. Yes, I know. When I first mentioned it, I know. Well, Estelle, it's here now, and I'll be happy to share with you some of the things. In fact, let me come down. For you, Estelle, just for you, for particular, since you know we've been talking about this for 3 or 4 years, we actually are waiting for one of the agencies right now to they're redoing their budgets, and once they redo their budgets, they're going to let us know what they have available to be able to start to problem solve for. So I'm happy that you are here today, and I'm happy that you jumped in because I need you on the top of my mind because I know you've got stuff that you're working on. All right, let's see. Questions. Yes, we'll be doing more virtual events. So the reason why I did the virtual summit, Nia, was because I want to show people that I can put together a virtual event like that summit, and we had over 200 people register, and I did it in a week. So I did that summit in 7 days. We had over 200 people register, and we had, I think it was 23 speakers, and I pulled that off in a week's notice. So I'm showing them the power that we have in our network so that we can start doing not just virtual summits, Nia. We want to do competitions and prizes for the government so that we can actually give you guys money. I want to get money into your hands. That's why I said this is going to be our best year for working together, because my goal in the past has been helping you get contracts, which we're still doing, but now I want to get a contract that I can get you money in your hands. So I'm going to be working on my side simultaneously trying to get a big contract. I said the wrong word. I said trying. I'm going to be working on my side simultaneously to get a big contract so that we can essentially start giving money to you guys directly from, well, it won't be from us, it's from the agency, but it's through us because we'll be managing the funds. All right. Seems like you're coming us with an opportunity to invest in Amico on the ground floor. I don't know what Amico is. Sorry, but yes, this is the ground floor. Someone says, "Well, you need specific training to be part of the program." Again, you will not need any training. You will need to give me solutions. I don't want anybody to go outside their expertise. What I'm doing is I'm finding a way to leverage your expertise and help the government. So I don't need anyone to go outside their expertise. I want you to give me your 20 years of knowledge or 10 years of knowledge or whatever it is that you're really good at. I need you to bring me that. And then I'm going to match it up with some requirements that they have so that we can then take it to the government. So no, you don't need any training on this particular opportunity. But again, I'm just sharing with you, not for you guys to take action on it, other than when you start seeing what we're doing in the future, I'm preparing you. And it might be preemptive, but this is just the way I like to do stuff. All right? Yes, I'm looking for somebody who's going to be bringing the white papers, Terrell. Correct. Right. We're looking for somebody who's bringing the white papers. Okay. Looking forward to the boot camp. Yeah, so Tyrell, some of the OTAs are very quick turnarounds, but what we're doing is essentially, as a consortium manager, we'll be developing an OTA specifically with some of these agencies. So yes, unfortunately, Tyrell, because we are just new to this, so to speak, we haven't had the luxury to build those relationships yet. Like anything else, right? You got to do BD and pipeline. But as we, at the same time, Tyrell, as the ones we're sending out that have the quick turnarounds, we're also doing BD in the background, getting new requirements that have not been pushed out yet, similar to how we do negotiated bids and sole source stuff. So we're getting new requirements, but I'm kind of prepping our community that this is coming so that when you see it, you're like, you don't think like this is just any other opportunity. You could be like, okay, I know that this is special because Eric's talked about it on December 21st, right? 4 days before Christmas. By the way, I am happy that 48 people are on here watching before Christmas, and then on YouTube, another, 36 people are watching. So I'm happy that we've got almost 100 people watching on a Saturday afternoon. That just tells me that you guys are hungry and that y'all are ready to go and that you really want this and you want to make this happen. I know I've got Stev, at least he's a witness. I got one witness that says that we've been talking about this now for a few years. So this just didn't pop up randomly. We just had not been able to put together an infrastructure so that we could deliver. But now that we've done that, people are recognizing and are giving us opportunity, and then we're getting in front of the people that we need to get in front of so we could show who we are and what we could do. Similar to what we did with the conference and the event, right? People saw us and like, oh, you guys are for real. So Estev, just for you know, by the way, everybody on here, based on this last year's our summit's delivery and how many of the people are impressed, the Navy wants to bring people this year. They're talking about making it their East Coast event. The Department of State wants to bring everybody this year. I know that we're talking to some of the people from some of the top tech companies. They want to sit on our steering committees and help us bring the Googles, Amazons to the world to this event this year. So just be on the lookout. We're going to be doing a lot more stuff at higher levels with bigger people. And I want to just include everybody. Like, I just want you guys, I don't want y'all to say like you didn't know about this. So thank you for being on here and thank you for watching. Tyrell says, can you get a SIBR and an OTA for the same solutions? I'm sure you can, because a lot of this stuff is, well, I know, Tyrell, when I read with SIBRs, that you can get multiple SIBRs from different agencies for the same solution. So I don't see why not, because the OTA falls on the unregulated side. And if you've got a SIBR, you've probably shown already, somebody's proved that you have that technology capability. So it's kind of been vetted. So I wouldn't see why you couldn't take that over and get an OTA for it as well. Because you're dealing with different agencies and different offices. Yes, great for new companies. That's correct. Nia, exactly. Bringing innovation ideas and solutions to the table with Govcon Giants. Correct. Yep. All right. Listen. So I'm going to do this real quick. I'm going to close off. Thank you. Let me close off YouTube, and then I'll stay on Federal Help Center real quick. So I just want people, I'm going to close out YouTube, and then you guys on Federal Help Center, you guys talk, and then I'll answer some other questions real quick. Let me close out YouTube. Hold on. All right. So as you see, what we're working on And I'm happy. Thank you guys for joining us. And like I said, I I found what's been thank you Susan, thank you Chevy, thanks Regina. I found that what happens is I've been as I keep talking to people, I'm like, you know what? Nobody knows what we're doing, and so that's why I have to keep explaining myself every time when I'm like, hey, don't you have this solution? And they're like, well, Eric, what are you talking about solutions? So that's why I said, you know what? Let me just come out and make a public announcement today of what we're working on, what we're up to, so that you know. So then that way, when you see stuff from me, or if I call you and I'm like, hey, do you have something like this? Then you'll know essentially, right, what to do or how to respond to it. So I do want to say that because people have not been, they don't know what I'm doing, and I want to just kind of like make that publicize it. So thank you much, YouTube. I'm gonna continue over here on the Federal Help Center because they want to talk about the boot camp and everything else. And so if you want to join us, again, just right here, go to federalhelpcenter.com. You can join a general membership. It's free. And then you can join our live chats. Plus, that's where we're going to be putting all the documents and information in there. YouTube doesn't allow me to share documents, share information. It doesn't allow us to collaborate. So that's why we're using this platform below as our consortium platform to be able to start getting all this information to everyone and being able to have dialogues, breakout sessions, and communicate. So that's what we're doing over here. All right? I just want to say that. But I can leave it running. If everybody wants to stay on, I'll leave it running. All right, so now people ask me about, yes, correct. Thank you, Shandela, for telling them. So people ask me about the boot camp. And like I said, we did a video on the boot camp. Can somebody else drop that video in here? Yvette, Colin, let me see if I can go find it real quick. But I did a video on the boot camp, what's included in there. And I'll see if I can find it really quick to share it with you guys. And you can watch it, what's expected on a boot camp. What other questions do you guys have for me today? Anything else? I'm probably going to stay on for a couple more minutes because I'm going to go do some stuff as well. What other questions do people have for me today? All right, I just dropped in a boot camp video if you have questions about it. Thanks, Estelle. Thanks for joining us. All right. So the boot camp starts on January the 10th. This explains what's received in the boot camp. Hold on. Yep, I'm closing YouTube. Yep. All right, so this explains what the boot camp's about, so you guys can see it there. And you could, bye Susan. And you could get that information about the boot camp. All right. There's a link to the boot camp. What other questions do people have? Aisha, so that's a good question. She said, will every company performing work need to be registered in SAM? I don't know the answer to that, Aisha, because again, since this is non-traditional contracting, I don't know yet if you have to be registered in SAM particularly. I would assume yes, but I don't know the answer to that question. That's a good one. Alice Brand says, repeat my question. Alice Brown says, I'm new to contracting. Where can I start? So Alice, you're already in, our platform, Federal Help Center. It's a good place to begin. Inside this platform, we have on here, I don't know if I can show it to you, but inside the platform, we have on here, oh, hold on. 1 second. Okay. All right, so inside the platform, let me see if I can share it with you. But we do, so what we're going to be doing now, just for everyone who's new to Federal Help Center, We're gonna do weekly calls where we discuss all of the different things that are inside Federal Help Center. But let me see if I can show it to you at the same time as I'm streaming live. I don't know how complicated this platform is. I'll try it. So if you're new, right, and it might be choppy because I'm streaming too much stuff. So if you're new, you've never been this platform, it says here, just join, start here. This is a first place where I would start. Okay, how to use Federal Help Center, start here. And it explains the different programs. And then if you're also, again, if you've done nothing with government contracting, in this channel is our free beginners course for you to take, again, if you're brand spanking new. So those are some of the places that I would say start. Just join, how to use Federal Help Center, and then beginner contracting course. Again, all that's free of charge if you're brand new. That's where I begin. Other questions? Yeah, we don't have a directory of that people are experts in opportunities yet. That's what we got to get on, is the directory. Yeah, it's probably choppy. So let me see if I could stop streaming.